Hey guys, Luke here, and I'm here to review round 1 of the 2020 NRL season. Now, at the moment, the big topic is the coronavirus. Obviously, it's an ongoing issue. We don't really know what's going to happen. I'll do a proper video on that in the next couple of days, maybe even tomorrow. But for right now, we're just going to be doing a review of round 1. Obviously, 8 games, 8 pretty decent games. Some of them were a bit some of them sucked. Some of the ball control wasn't that great, but there were some entertaining tries as well. So some positives, some negatives. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our first game. Actually, just before we do that, I didn't do a preview video, so I didn't go over who my tips were for this week. So let's go ahead and open up the tipping app, and I'll show you who I tipped. Okay, so I've got the app loaded up on my phone. As you can see, I tipped the Eels. I got that one right. I tipped the Raiders. I got that one right. I tipped the Cowboys, got that one wrong, so that was the first one. I then tipped the Knights and the Rabbitohs, got that one. Surprisingly, did tip the Panthers. I mean, I got halfway through the game and I went, geez, I tipped the Panthers, I think. Go Panthers. But for like the first half, I was going, man, the Roosters are so good. Glad I tipped them. But yeah, thankfully, the Panthers came home and I got the W for that one. Then I lost out on the Sea Eagles. I picked them purely because I at home. Storm came home strong there. And I also picked the Dragons because they were at home as well. So Tigers and Sea Eagles let me down big time, as well as the Cowboys. But so far, I mean, not a bad start to the tipping. Rightio, so we've got the tipping out of the way. Now we can get on to the very first game, which was the Parramatta Eels taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs. My favourite team, the Bulldogs. Now, obviously, you saw that I tipped the Eels. I had no confidence in the Bulldogs going into this game. Maybe like a week or so ago, before the whole Ockenbaugh, Harrier and Ira stuff happened. Ockenbaugh, we can deal with. Ockenbaugh, very hot and cold when he plays. I'm not the biggest fan of him. But Harrier Naira, fantastic player, a huge loss. And thankfully Joe Stimson came in, did a pretty good job, big signing from the Storm. I was reading reports he wasn't even going to get in the side, and thankfully he did because he was very, very good. But I really feel like the Bulldogs blew this game. I thought we were the better team for most parts of the game. Eels weren't very good at all. I thought their halves lacked direction. They got very lucky, very fortunate to score the try that they did. It did come off a grubber, and even so, Fatala Mariner dropped the ball in the previous set when he had no one around him. All he had to do was catch it, and it would have been a 20-meter restart. Who knows what would have happened. Adam Elliott went very close to scoring. Ferguson nearly scored. Still got to do his backflip celebration, which was pretty cool. But there wasn't too much going on. There was a lot of good defense. I was pretty impressed with Dylan Napa in particular. I thought the Eels forwards were pretty, you know, the front rowers at least pretty good. They played pretty good minutes. A bit disappointed in Madison and Sean Lane. Didn't do too much. But yeah, Dylan Napa and then, you know, Junior Paulos and Campbell Gillard was okay as well. But I thought the forwards were the real standouts in this one. Adam Elliott putting on some big hits as well for the Bulldogs. So yeah, defense was definitely on show in this game. There wasn't too much attack, as evidenced by only the one try, and it was a pretty sloppy try at that. So yeah, not too much to say about this game other than it was pretty good defense and not so much attack. Lachlan Lewis definitely needs some more help in the halves. Everything sort of went through him and wasn't exactly the best. But in terms of the Eels, I would be quite worried now. Obviously, I'm not sure what's going to happen with this break. Obviously, they're playing next week, but after that, I'm not sure. But going into the season, I was thinking the Eels were definitely going to be a top 4 side pushing for a grand final appearance. And that performance left me sort of scratching my head at times. It was very, very sloppy. Although, at the end of the day, they did get the win, and that's all that matters. So, yeah, good job, Eels, I guess. Moving on to the second game of the round, we saw the Raiders defeat the Titans 24-6. Now, this one, I was pretty confident. I even had these guys in a multi. I picked the Raiders, and obviously, they got the job done. I mean, the Raiders, they got a pretty solid side. I expect them to not do as well as they did last year. However, they absolutely dismantled the Titans. There wasn't even any sort of doubt at any point throughout the game that the Raiders weren't going to get the job done in front of the home fans. Jack White was incredible. Ash Taylor, not so much for the Titans. Now, all the talk through the offseason was Ash Taylor in a good headspace. He's been training the house down, and I just didn't see it. I mean, Ash Taylor, like, the fact that he didn't put his body on the line in defense. Jack White went through him twice. And when I say went through him, I mean like really went through him. It was all on Ash Taylor. It wasn't even like, oh, Jack White did so well. I could have scored that try. That's how bad Ash Taylor was in defense. Obviously, Jack White and a big body. But yeah, Ash Taylor, he's got to do so much better than that. If he's going to be playing like that, there is no way Titans win a game. Now, going into the season, I didn't expect the Titans to win the wooden spoon. After that performance, they're definitely more than capable of doing it. There just wasn't even really any silver linings for him. There wasn't even anyone who was particularly good. I mean, Philip Semi had a couple of good runs, but I mean, his defense was wasn't the greatest positioning. But in terms of the Raiders, though, I thought they were very, very good, very consistent all over the park. I know it was only the Titans, but I thought George Williams looked pretty good for his first outing in the NRL. I wasn't sure what to expect from him, but I mean, he played pretty good. I mean, give him a couple of months, give him a couple of seasons even, and you know, he might be one of the better halves in the comp. Definitely seemed like a player who could complement Jack Whiten a bit. The kicking game looked very strong from him, and Jack Whiten's kicking game was pretty strong as well. It seems so weird to think that Jack Whiten was a centre, a fullback, sort of just a back, and they tried him at 5'8", and he was terrible even, and they moved him back to fullback, and then he's gone to 5'8", and all of a sudden he can kick. Like, I remember he couldn't kick when he first moved there, and all of a sudden I absolutely love his short kicking game. So yeah, Jack Whiten is turning into one of my favourite players, and the Raiders are just one of my favourite teams in general. Now moving on to the Cowboys up against the Broncos. It was the Broncos winning 28-21. Pretty weird scoreline, but Michael Morgan's field goal, absolutely outstanding. Now this one, I watched it at the gym. I was kind of watching on and off, depending on what I was doing, but I think the Broncos definitely deserve to win it. Now I think even though the scoreline says 28-21, it sort of suggests the Broncos won pretty comfortably. I do think the Broncos did deserve to win, but I think the Cowboys were in it at times. I thought Valentine Holmes' return, it was pretty good. I see a lot of people slamming him, a lot of people saying, oh, well, he wasn't very good. I mean, what do you expect? You expect him to come out and have like a man of the match performance in his first game back? It's just not going to happen. I mean, we saw when Sonny Bill came back from rugby union, it didn't really work out well. It's just not going to happen, not in the NRL, especially when he hasn't even played that much fullback. He played like, what, one season there? It's going to take a little bit of time. However, I thought he did look pretty decent. Probably goal kicking needs a little bit of brushing up on, but he did score a try. I thought that was pretty good. I'm not sure about Ben Hampton on the wing for the Cowboys, but I mean, there was glimpses for the Cowboys, but I think the telling point for this game was more, so the talking point I should say, was more for the Broncos. Now, if this is the Broncos that they're going to be putting together going forward, like their sort of performances, I think they're going to make a pretty good dent in this competition, which is not what I expected going into the season. I thought Brody Croft looked very, very good. Him and Milford linked up pretty well. I know there wasn't it didn't seem like there was too much pressure on them, but yeah, their forwards definitely stood up. The backs were pretty good. Even Darius Boyd was pretty decent in the centre. So yeah, the Broncos, I think that was pretty promising for them. What does it mean for the rest of the season? Who knows? Was it the rest of the season for everybody? Who knows what's going to happen? But the Cowboys, I was expecting big things from them this season. I'm definitely not writing them off, but I need to see more from their forwards. They have guys like Tamalalo and that. I think Tamalalo really carries that side. He carries them big time. They've got a lot of big names in that forward pack, and I don't think they do a good enough job in helping Tamalalo. So they definitely need to stand up in the next couple of weeks if there's any chance of being a threat in this comp. But overall, pretty solid performance from the Broncos, and I really enjoyed that little celebration, little hand sanitizer celebration. So A+ for the Broncos. That was really, really entertaining from them. Now we move on to the first game of Saturday night. It was the Knights up against the Warriors. The Knights picked up a 20-0 victory. That was the second part of my multi I was talking about. The first part was the Raiders. The second was the Knights. I was very confident going into this game that the Knights were going to get the job done. The Warriors really didn't put up much of a fight. I mean, like I said in my predictions video, you go through that Warriors side, it doesn't look good. Apart from Tuivasa-Sheck, they don't really have much going in attack or defense or anything really. Tuivasa-Sheck carries that side big time. He needs help. He's not going to get that help this season, and especially with all this stuff happening now, Warriors' best bet is probably not to play this season, judging by that performance. But the Knights, they were good at times. I wouldn't really look into it too much. Kind of similar to the Raiders up against Titans. I don't know if it reflects on the Raiders and Knights being that good, or does it reflect on the Warriors and Titans being that bad? I'm not sure, but I mean, the Knights, they did score some pretty nice tries. I mean, they played alright, but yeah, I mean, the Warriors were pretty poor. Would tip him to get the wooden spoon, but the Titans did play pretty bad as well. But between them, there's your wooden spooners, I reckon. But yeah, the Knights, I mean, I can't take it away from them. You have to play what's in front of you, and they played very well. 20-0, it's a pretty deserving scoreline. So good job, Knights. Good start to the season for them. Down to the second game of Saturday night, we have the Rabbitohs defeating the Sharks. I think it's 22-18. Sharks, they were down. They were down in the dumps. I thought, wow, this Sharks team is horrid. Look at that side, it's not going well. The Rabbitohs came out strong, they came out firing. I thought, wow, this Rabbitohs side, they're the real deal this year. they're looking real good. And then the second half happened, and the Sharks got a bit of momentum, and, you know, apart from a forward pass, maybe they would have got the victory. They would have been kicking for the win. I mean, pretty simple stuff. I don't even think a guy needed to throw the pass, but Josh Morris was on the wing, ends up receiving a forward pass, and the Rabbitohs held on. Now, in the first half, I thought the Rabbitohs forwards were quite good. In the second half, it sort of evened out. Sean Johnson really turned on this game. I think everybody knows that the Sharks are at their best if Sean Johnson plays at his best. That's just a Sean Johnson team. You could say the same for the Warriors when he was there. But for the Sharks to win games, they need Sean Johnson fit and firing. And he definitely looked the goods in this game. If he can maintain that form throughout this season, I think the Sharks will go okay. They'll go a lot better than what I expected. I wasn't expecting much from the Sharks, but they definitely over-delivered from what I was expecting. The Rabbitohs, the start was great. First half was great. Even the start of the second half was okay. But yeah, it got a little bit too close for comfort for me, especially having a bet on this one. I couldn't believe it when I saw that the Sharks made that comeback sort of towards the end. It was happening very quickly. So yeah, Rabbitohs definitely took the foot off the pedal, and they nearly paid for it, but they didn't. So good job, Rabbitohs. You held on, but you need to do better in the next coming weeks. Now into the last game of Saturday, we have the Panthers up against the Roosters. The Panthers got the victory, 20-14, and I was going to say that it was shocking to me, but I guess I did tip the Panthers, so maybe not so shocking. But yeah, this Roosters side, definitely not the side that we saw last year. I mean, that's obvious. Cooper Cronk's not there. Kyle Flanagan did okay, but I think a big telling point for them was leading up to the game, Angus Crichton pulled out due to like pneumonia or whatever it was, coronavirus, pneumonia, whatever. He pulled out, he didn't play, so they're already short. Ikavale comes in and then he gets knocked the hell out. Just head hits the back, nothing can really do about it, but they were definitely sort of all over the shop in terms of their backs, and I think the Panthers definitely took advantage of that. Panthers, I wouldn't say either of these sides looked great, but Penrith, I think every time you get a win over the Roosters, it's definitely a good thing. However, I saw the Roosters, I think from the last 7 seasons, they've lost 5 of the last 7, which is now they've lost 6 of the last 8. So they haven't got a good record in round 1. I don't know exactly why, but take it for what you will. They haven't got a great record. Panthers took advantage of that, I guess, and yeah, I mean, Boyd Corner didn't play. Still finding their feet, the Roosters, but can't take anything away from Penrith. In front of the home crowd, they definitely aimed up. I think the game really changed when Crichton came on. I don't know if he was playing fullback. I feel like he might have been playing fullback. But he definitely looked very, very dangerous. I saw some people saying he's on the wing, but I mean, if he's a fullback, like he looked pretty good when he was playing. Came on his first touch, literally scored a try, and he just got them on the front foot. And he just looked dangerous when he was touching the ball. And I think the Panthers, they just rode the momentum perfectly and ended up with the victory. And I'm talking about momentum. The Roosters did have the momentum. They played a pretty good first half, and then in the second half, Panthers turned it around. That's what you want to see for Panthers. I wouldn't exactly say they're a side that grinds out games. However, they are pretty good at comebacks. So, yeah, maybe that's not the best team to be a comeback team, but as long as they get the victory, as long as they get the job done, that's what you want for Panthers, and I'm sure the fans will take it nonetheless, whether it's a comeback victory or a flogging or whatever it is. A win against the Roosters is a win against the Roosters. It's a big one. Now we move on to Sunday afternoon football. This first game was a little bit surprising to me. It was the Melbourne Storm defeating the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. It was a home game for Manly. I thought Manly, in front of the home crowd, they would come out and they'd be firing, and they kind of were. Like, it was pretty close at times. Storm obviously ran away with it. Vunivalu getting a couple tries, a couple really nice tries actually. Some pretty nice kicks from Jerome Hughes. Not a renowned half. I described him on my predictions video, a fullback playing halfback, and I was saying how that says it all about the Storm, but he definitely did look kind of like a halfback in this game. I was pretty impressed with his kicking game. The Eagles, it's hard. It's round 1 up against the Storm. Storm is such a hard team to beat in round 1. I think I've seen that Craig Bellamy hasn't lost in round 1 at all. So, I mean, in hindsight, probably should have tipped the Storm just with that record. I mean, he's had a lot of years to lose and he hasn't done so. So, Manly, no shame in losing to the Storm. Definitely probably going to be a contender this year based off on what we saw. I mean, looking at the lineup, it is pretty good. But yeah, Manly, I don't know I can't get a read on them. They didn't look fantastic. Yeah, Coruscant is probably going to be a big loss for them, / Fainu. I'm not sure when he's going to be back, if he's going to be back. But yeah, Denny Levi, I mean, him there, I don't know. I don't exactly rate Denny Levi too highly, but it's more so just the fact that, you know, Coruscant, Fainu, such a good combo last year, and they're not here. And Fainu, I think he came in and he changed the game big time last year, going from those two to having Denny Levi, who was in and out of the Knights team at their worst. And then you have, I think it was Lachlan Croker on the bench. Not exactly a Coruscant-Fainu combo, which is a big dent into the Manly side and into how they played last year, I think. So, yeah, Storm definitely took advantage of it. Storm just kept grinding away, and then they took their opportunities when they were presented to them. So, good job, Storm. It was just a typical Storm performance, really. Now, moving on to the final game of the round, potentially the final game to have a crowd in the NRL in 2020. We saw the Tigers defeat the Dragons. I don't know how they did it, but they did it, 24-14. I had a bet on the Dragons, and it was looking pretty good in the first half. I thought, yep, Dragons got this. They'll run away with it in front of the home crowd. Tigers missing Luke Brooks, you know, it'll be all right. It definitely was not all right. The Tigers, they just kept staying in the game. The Leilua boys looked pretty good. Nofaluma looked good. That I think the right-hand edge looks pretty dangerous for them. The Dragons, though, Zach Lomax, I don't know what to think of him at fullback. The way he just left that ball, it definitely seemed like someone who hasn't played much fullback, which he hasn't. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think. They've tried a few people at fullback. Is Zach Lomax the answer? I guess we'll find out pretty soon, but wasn't exactly promising in the last game. But the Dragons, they had like 3 or 4 chances where they dropped the ball over the line. Ben Hunt did that on a Paul Vaughan. Tyson Frizzell probably should have just backed himself and just went to the corner. I think he could have steamrolled Corey Thompson. Look at the size difference. I think he definitely would have steamrolled Corey Thompson. Love Corey Thompson, but I mean, Tyson Frizzell, if he wants to, you're not stopping him. Instead, he threw the pass, and it was such a risky pass too. It went forward. I mean, it was such a stupid one anyways. Even if he threw it back, probably would have been touched by Benji. Speaking of Benji, what a performance by him. Turning back the clock there, Benji. Just a brilliant performance by Benji Marshall. A good performance from the Tigers all round. Billy Walters seemed pretty good. But yeah, the Dragons, just so disappointing for them. It's going to be very frustrating to be a Dragons fan the last couple of years. They have a team who, on paper, should be a lot better than what they are. I'm not talking about winning comps or anything, but they should be beating teams like the Tigers without Luke Brooks especially. Josh Reynolds, don't get me wrong, absolutely love Josh Reynolds. Deserves to have, you know, a great season and that. But having him and Benji Marshall in the halves, and then seeing the Dragons have Corey Norman and Ben Hunt, you know, Queensland internationals, Queensland representatives, I should say, having them in the lineup and they still can't get the job done. It's not promising for the Dragons. I'd be worried if I was Dragon supporters. I'd be very worried if I was Paul McGregor, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, that's my review of round 1. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing a review of round 2. Fingers crossed it goes ahead, and we will be doing that. But make sure you leave in the comment section below. Let me know how your tips went this week. Mine were pretty, they're pretty average, 5 from 8, but I'll take it. It's better than some weeks I've had. But yeah, leave in the comment section below. How did your tips go? Also, while you're at it, may as well go ahead and give me a follow on all social media. MrLuke on my T, it's on the screen right now. That's my Instagram and Twitter, as well as Snapchat as well. And then my Facebook is in the description below as well. It's MrLuke. If you just search it up, it should come up. Probably going to be posting on that a little bit, considering there's not much going on in the world with all the coronavirus stuff. So, hey, may as well do some Snapchats, eh? And then, guys, that's where I'm going to leave this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and hopefully we do get a round 2 of footy. If not, I guess I'll be talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll be talking about different issues. The Warriors are a big one, whether they're going to stay in Australia or not. I mean, there's so much to talk about. Yeah, it's probably going to get quite repetitive, but hey, that's this video over and done with. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.